How firm a foundation He saves us.
Welcome to the Bible Makes Us Baptist podcast with Pastor Ellis from the Poteau Valley Baptist Church, Poteau, Oklahoma. And now here's Pastor Mickey Ellis.
Well, greetings, everyone, from my office here at Poteau Valley Baptist Church, Poteau, Oklahoma. Let me extend a warm invitation to everyone that is watching and listening to this podcast here. On October the 6th and the 7th, we are hosting our annual Baptist Heritage Conference. Now, please go to our website, Poteau Valley Baptist, that's P-O-T-E-A-U, PoteauValleyBaptist.com. Look up the conference page, read about it, see what it's about, and then get registered. It's absolutely free. We just need registration so we can know you're coming, because we've got some things prepared to give you when you get here. And so please do that. Pastors, go to the pastor's registration so we can set you up with a hotel room for free, absolutely free to you if you'll come. And so get registered on there, look it up, read about it. Brother Mike Wells, Brother Ron Westmore, our keynote speakers this year. And the emphasis, I tell you, I really want to help pastors I want to help all pastors, and I want to help all Christians, okay? This is not just for pastors. But I'm telling you, if your church is in a small town, this conference will be a help to you. One of the hardest things to do in a small town, if you're going to be a soul-winning church, is to keep the soul-winning embers burning. And I'll tell you something. Last week, we had 41 people in our small little church here going out soul-winning. It can be done. It can be done. Now, that was a high day. We averaged about 30 on soul winning, but nonetheless, it can be done. So come on out. Let me give you some biblical and practical ideas and principles how we do that. And I tell you, God can use a church. It's amazing. You know, we use this excuse. Well, it's just a small town. We can't do a whole lot. You can do something for God. I promise you that. Our church supports 55 missionaries around the world. We go soul winning. God uses our people to reach others with the gospel. And I believe he can do the same. Well, look, Daniel chapter number 12. Remember, chapters 10 through 12 are referring to the same vision. And also notice that at that same time, speaks of the same time frame that chapter 11 finishes with there, the Great Tribulation. So we find in verses 1 through 4 of chapter 12, a time to stop. Verses 5 through 7, time to be silent. Now we're going to see verses 8 through 13, a time to step away. I've got to go pretty quickly here. I'm going to run out. I'm going to go over time. Verse number 8. And I heard, but I understood not. By the way, that's a good case for inspiration. That this idea that God gives thought inspiration, but not word inspiration. You know, here's the thought, run with it. That's not what happened. Daniel wrote down what God said, even though he didn't understand what God said. That's inspiration. But anyway, but I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,335 days. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. Again, Daniel's full of questions. What shall be the end of these things? And the answer, don't fret over it. There's no way you can understand it, Daniel. Why? Because it's sealed. It's sealed to the time of the end. Don't worry about it, Daniel. Though many of your people will be tried, and many will also trust Jesus, and because of that, they'll understand what this is about. But the wicked can't understand. 1 Corinthians chapter number 2 is a good case in point. Spiritual things have to be discerned by the Holy Spirit that's within us. I believe in the tribulation period, those who are going to get saved will have the capacity to take the Bible and kind of map out the events that are spoken of in verses like this, and they'll have an idea of what's going on. Then one more hint is given, mainly to the tribulation saints, that from the time that that abomination that maketh desolate is set up until the end is going to be 3.5 years, 1,290 days, he says. The abomination of desolation, as Jesus called it in Matthew 24. As a matter of fact, go ahead and turn to Matthew 24. I'm going to read something there in just a second. As he called it in Matthew 24, is the time when the Antichrist will set himself up in the holy temple as being God. And that's going to be halfway through the tribulation period. And then, of course, there's another 3.5 years left of that. This is very possibly and very likely the time when the devil actually actually possesses the son of perdition. I think until the midway point of the tribulation, the Antichrist is going to be led or influenced by Satan, but at that point in time, he's actually going to be possessed. Look at Matthew 24, verse 15. Matthew 24 and verse 15. Jesus said, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Go down to verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Now I want you to notice back in Daniel 12, we have a larger, verse number 12, a larger number than the 3.5 years, the 3 years and 6 months. This verse speaks of 1,335 days, and that goes some 75 days beyond the 3.5 years. What's the significance of this? I've got to be very forthright and honest with you. This is a little bit of a mystery to me, okay? Possibly. This is possible, and this is not doctrine. I'm not going to fight over this. It possibly has something to do with the time span of the Battle of Armageddon, and maybe even the cleansing of the temple, and maybe even a time to appoint believers to their duties all over the earth during the millennial reign. But the point is this, and I think the point is this, that it has something to do with a time of transition, those extra 75 days. We do know that God is going to bless those who are patient through the tribulation and beyond. And this is one thing that we as believers will have to learn on the other side, okay, when we get to heaven. However, those who enter the tribulation and then discover the wonderful grace of God and experience what is spoken of, they will experience what is spoken of, knowledge shall be increased. They're going to learn and understand the significance of some of these things that are cloudy to us on this side of the rapture. They're going to have to go through some things we never dreamed of, but they're going to learn some things that we've never known as well. All right, I got to put the brakes on right there. See you tomorrow.
Join us next time for The Bible Makes Us Baptist podcast with Pastor Mickey Ellis. For questions or comments, go to PotoValleyBaptist.com/contact.